Iran wants to make a deal because they have no military left, essentially, and they want to make a deal, but I'm not satisfied.
Okay, President Trump is weighing military options in Iran as peace talks are stalled, and he says that it includes blasting the country if they don't make a deal. And he's warning Tehran that they may have just days left before its oil production is forced to shut down. Let's bring in now former Secretary of State and Fox News contributor Mike Pompeo. Secretary, great to see you again. I want to get right into this. Obviously, they offered a proposal that the president did not like. What do you think he does next? Does he take military action again?
Aisha, it's great to be with you. Look, we're already taking military action as we sit here today. We have the United States Navy, our Space Command, lots of folks working to execute a blockade, making sure that the Iranians can't rearm, resupply, rebuild their capabilities, not only their nuclear capabilities, which we took out between last summer and the most recent campaign, but also their conventional forces. And so whether he'll actually go back at land-based targets inside of Iran, only the president knows. But this blockade has proven effective. The military has performed flawlessly, and the Iranian economy will force Vahadi and all the knuckleheads that lead the IRGC, these theocrats who believe deeply in the destruction of Israel and the elimination of the United States, will force them to make some very difficult decision in just a handful of next weeks.
I want to ask you about this. I think you might have the answer. You know, the war powers ran out last night, 60 days, that was it. But this is the president saying, well, you know, we had this ceasefire, so the 60 days, that hasn't ran out. Harry is making the case yesterday.
Why are you not seeking congressional approval to extend it?
Because it's never been sought before. There's been many times, and nobody's ever gotten it before. They consider it totally unconstitutional. But we're always in touch with Congress. But nobody's ever sought it before. Nobody's ever asked for it before. It's never been used before. Why should we be different?
So you've been on both sides of this, right? So does he need approval from Congress if he wants to start strikes again? Does he have to go back, or is he right?
You know, actually, I served as a member of Congress in the House of Representatives, and then was in the executive branch. You know, President Trump's on incredibly firm ground here. Not only legal ground, but constitutional ground, the statute, the War Powers Act, but also constitutional ground. This is his mission set, to keep Americans safe. It falls to the commander-in-chief, and so he is functionally in the appropriate lawful place. More importantly, if Congress wants to do something, they do have the power to fix this. They can go to the floor, pass legislation, and deny money for our military. But they've not demonstrated that, because the truth is they don't really want to do that either. They don't want to be on the line for what they know is a bad outcome. If we were to withdraw our military forces today, or to end the blockade, it doesn't open the strait. It just means that the Iranian theocrats would control the energy supply across the world for decades to come. President Trump's going to stay at this. He said it perfectly. The War Powers Resolution is what it is. I happen to think it's unconstitutional, but he's going to do the necessary to keep the American people safe.
You know, some experts out there think that if we economically strangle Iran, that's how we're going to bring them to their knees and to the negotiating table in a meaningful way. I want to put up on the screen the economic cost so far for Iran. I mean, they're suffering over there. They've been hit by $435 million loss in daily economic activity. Inflation is exceeding 112%. I can't even imagine what that is like for the Iranians. And 139 million daily lost in oil revenue as well. 1.6 million Iranian rials is now equal to $1 US. That is insanity. Secretary, is this what's going to get them to really come to us and negotiate? Or do they think that they're in this for the long haul, that they're dug in and they want to see what happens politically to the president back here at home ahead of the midterms?
Well, you have to start with the proposition that there's no such thing as an Iranian leader who's a moderate. These are all radicals. And so sometimes there's this, well, the moderates will find a solution. Don't buy that storyline. They're going to stay at this until they have to make a really difficult choice. The Ayatollah described it before when he did it as drinking from the poison chalice. There will come a point where they will realize that the game is over, and they will have to accede to our demands. It will look and feel to us like surrender. To them, it will look like a continuation. So long as this regime is in power, they're going to come back at this. It might be 2 years, it might be 5 years, but President Trump is going to gain us decades of security if we stay the course. Whether we have to go strike them again, I think that's going to be up to President Trump. But make no mistake about it, we have to finish the job here. The Chinese are watching, the Russians are watching. Everyone sees that the West is now being challenged by the theocracy in Iran, and we have to win this.
Well, one thing they have proven is that they don't care if their leaders die, and they don't care if their people die. So that really is difficult to negotiate with. Secretary Pompeo, always great to have you on. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you. Bless you. Have a good weekend, too.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.